and we've just had the Golden Jubilee reunion, which is normally the reunion we have after approximately 45 years of the graduating batch. It should be 50, I know, but we count the Golden Jubilee from the year of joining, which is not what we do to the rest of you, by the way. So that was just a few weeks back, in the end of November. Then we have the 20th reunion now. The 25th reunion is literally starting the day after tomorrow. Then we have the 30th, then we have the 35th, then we have the 40th. Full of reunions. Okay, maybe we'll still start doing the 41st and 42nd and all that. But right now we have quite a lot of alumni activity this time, and it's been a splendid response. The 20th batch, I can understand, there's nothing much that you or I can do about the fog. Otherwise, people have come from long distances just to see their friends and to see the highly transformed IIT campus since the last 20 years. I've been kind of here all the time, so I've seen it changing. So it's less surprising and less impressive for somebody who sees it grow inch by inch. But for you, I can see that many of you hardly recognize where your hostel was. In fact, some members of the girls' hostel told me, I can't see where my hostel is. It's gone now. Okay, so now the time has come. We want to observe a minute's silence in the memory of the departed souls of this batch, Mr. Pappu Murthy of the Aeronautical Department, Nilanjana Agarwal of MSc 5-year, I think, chemistry, Satyendra Kumar Dubey of the Civil Engineering Department, in whose name we now have an annual award. And I'd just like you all to stand up for. Thank you very much. Request our director to address the gathering.
Good evening to all of you. I think at this moment, more than anything else, what each one of us would welcome is a warm welcome, or the warmth of the welcome in this inclement weather. And there is no dearth of that in this campus for all of you who are coming back after no matter what, 20 years or 30 years or 50 years. Because the alumni always are the biggest trophy an institute can be proud of. And the alumni also happen to be the biggest goodwill ambassadors to any institution. Because you have nothing to take anymore from the institution except basking in the glory of this institution. And likewise, the institute also always look forward to hearing good news from you all, so that we can boast about the achievements that you have made in your own life, and which proves that IIT Kanpur continues to thrive. There's one thing which I often say to all my friends and students and colleagues in the institute, that there are two things in life about which you have practically no choice. One is your parents, and the other one is your alma mater, particularly where you graduated from. You might do 2 or 3 different postgraduate degrees, but usually one does only one undergraduate degree. So the place where you graduate from, take your undergraduate degree, remains very sort of inseparable from all of us. So it's very nice that you have decided to come here, get together, celebrate your 20th year of graduation. And of course, I do not know exactly who is where now, but I'm inclined to believe that all of you are doing extremely well in your career. And going purely by your past experience, probably it's easy to assume that you are on the rise now. For those who come back after 50 years, they certainly are past their prime. They come back with a different mood. And those of you who have just completed 20 years of your graduation, it's easy to imagine that you're all very much on the rise. And obviously the institute would like you to rise even higher and lend us some of your glory, so that I, as the custodian of this place, can go back to the ministry, to the society at large, and claim that whatever little money Government of India spends on us, from the taxpayers' kitty of course, is worth spending. You know, for everything there are two ways you can look at it. One is, you may always argue and bicker that the grant we receive from government in the form of planned and non-planned grant is very small compared to the level of funding any renowned institution in the world, particularly in the Western world, they receive. Obviously, we receive a fraction of that. And going by that logic, any day when we get often criticized, starting from the visitor to IITs to every single citizen of the country, as to why IITs don't figure in the top 100 institutions in the world, in my defense, I often quote only one figure. I say, if you compare or if you judge or try to assess in terms of one single parameter, and that is number of dollars spent per publication, per PhD produced, or per graduate produced, of this quality that IIT produces, I think we are second to none. But that argument is, you know, only for the enlightened class. Even not many of them are willing to listen to that argument. So this is one side of the story, that we don't get enough funding. But on the other side, or looking at the same argument from the other side, a common citizen, a rickshaw puller down the road, or a shopkeeper who still pays tax, might always raise a question as to, you receive 600 crores or 500 crores a year from the money I contribute to in the form of tax, income tax. You earn another 100 or 150 crore additional through sponsored research. You have only 400 faculty, 6,500 students. So per capita, the endowment that the funding that you receive is order of magnitude higher than the common universities owned by the state. What are you doing so great about? In such a situation, I would always quote the performance of our alumni. That is our biggest strength, and will continue to be our strength. In one recent survey, IITs were quoted as the 4th ranking institutions in the world. And by IITs, I mean the older IITs, 5 or I think probably 7, they counted 7 IITs, including PhD, including Roorkee and Guwahati. And these were about the number of jobs created by the alumni of an institution in the form of entrepreneurship or in other forms. Number 1 in that list was Stanford, number 2 was MIT, number 3 was University of California system, and 4th was IITs, ahead of institutions like many other institutions. You can evaluate it. So obviously these are the facts and figures which make us proud. But there are plenty of things that remain to be done. Recently, might be worth sharing with you, for the first time in the history, on 22nd August this year, the visitor, the president of the country, invited directors of all the 16 IITs at his Rashtrapati Bhavan. We were asked to make short presentations about each of the IITs. And then in the evening, we had theme presentations on 7 different topics. One of them was 10 technology domains or goals that the country should pursue. Just a few days back, I was in the US and had the opportunity of participating in a joint symposium between Indian National Academy of Engineering and National Academy of Engineering USA. And the topic was engineering education for the 21st century. The context was NAE USA about 8 months or 10 months back came up with a list of 14 items which they call grand challenges for USA. Following the trait, Canada has also announced its own grand challenges, China, England, several other countries. This June there was an international convention on grand challenges, and this was held in London under the sponsorship of Royal Society UK. And they deliberated, and probably the next one will be in China, and we are also invited in that and so on. But that's not the issue that I'm trying to raise. So on behalf of IITs, I had to present these 10 technology domains before the country. And in that, at the end, I mentioned something which I would like to share with you. I said IITs have done 3 things about which there could be no question. Number 1, to set up technological education curriculum and standards in the country, which is at par with the best of the world. Number 2, over the years, IITs have contributed immensely towards generating knowledge in the technological domain through publications, patents, some bit of technology transfer, and so on. So by far, this is the best possible standard we can think in the area of engineering and technology from this country. And number 3, IITs over the years have produced alumni, the quality of which is above any kind of criticism. Having done this far in the last 50 years, we still haven't done quite a few things. And in my opinion, one of the biggest things that we need to do is to be able to be counted among those institutions which have proven to be relevant to the society by creating technological solutions for the country. End-to-end solution, complete systematic solution. Not that we have created one nut or one bolt in the satellite that has been launched by ISRO, or one component which is a part of a particular machine used by some company somewhere. We should be among those institutions which are able to give a complete technology in the form of a process or a product or a machine which will bear the brand name of IIT. And for that, of course, we need direct collaboration with industry and various other stakeholders. Now, that's not possible overnight, but that should be one of our goals. And we are trying to pursue that. While we are trying to pursue this, those of you who are very much on the rise and have not reached the peak of your career yet, many of you actually could be active collaborators. So I would like to make an appeal to all of you and your friends who are yet to arrive or are unable to come, that you as alumni of this great institution have every right to demand the best from the institute. You have every right to point out weaknesses of the institute. and claim that institute administration, or for that matter, all those who are associated with the institute, should pay active attention to this. And at the same time, you might come forward and say that we are willing to join hands with you and then try and develop some of the solutions that the society in this country awaits from IITs, in particular IIT Kanpur. And in that journey, if we join hands, I'm sure some success, if not many, will roll out in the near future. So let us start dreaming towards that. And apart from your coming back or your homecoming and enjoying your time while you are here in the campus, I would say please spare a few minutes of your thoughts in that direction. And if you can come up with some good suggestions, please pass on those to us through our deans or whoever you know in the campus with a concrete suggestion of, or a proposal that we can pursue. I would like to thank Mr. Sanjeev Sinha, your batch coordinator, for organizing these events. Of course, the Institute, the Alumni Association of the Institute, now very ably managed by Professor Venkatesh and my Dean, Alumni Affairs, Dean, Alumni Resources and Alumni, Professor Munshi, and the rest of my colleagues who are associated with organizing this event. I would like to thank all of them on behalf of the Institute. And more than anything else, I would like to thank you all who have braved this inclement weather, have come here to visit the campus with some of your family members, including our young friends. So I hope you all enjoy your stay, and at the end, go back home with a happy note and with the promise that you would help the Institute reach its professed targets. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Manna. Now, he will felicitate the alumni on their after this inaugural event, and it will go like this. Our batch coordinator will call your names out one by one, and you are requested to come upstairs with your families. Upstairs meaning here, I mean upstage, sorry. And there will be a final photograph with each of them. So this will require a little coordinating. We call the next name in advance so that people can be ready.
He shows me a book which has only his name in English, rest all are Japanese.
Number 10. Yeah. Number 10, Ajit Kumar Mishra. Famous for his roll number. 10 number ही अब 90015 Amrish Kumar Jha. Please come with your family. Please come with your family. 90042 Archana Tripathi.
Photo. उस तरफ करो.
Okay, please look
हमारा नाम मेरा रोल नंबर मुझे नहीं पता. बाद में आएगा. पहले बुला लो.
Okay, done. Yeah.
Tripathi. Anup Tripathi.
Please.
44 Asha Kanoi. Just request to be ready.
Please look careful. Okay.
48 Ashish Goyal.
ये दिन छोटा दिन बड़ा
उस तरफ फोटो दे.
ये लो छोटा.
हम तो नहीं आ रहे.
72 Deepak Kumar Adhikari. कुमार पांडे, 83 विजय सिंह, 92 तिजोरी, 28 मनोज कुमार श्रीवास्तव, 44 नमित अग्रवाल, कुछ नाम नीचे है अलग से, अच्छा 144 नमित अग्रवाल, बस हो जाएगा। ओके नीचे से अलग से लगाइए रोल नंबर के बिना।
ओके डन। अच्छा वन रोल कैमरा की
162 Nitin Agarwal. I will read the list once so that you are ready and I will only call the name once again. Nitin Agarwal, Pankaj Kakkar, Praveen Gupta, Prabhat Gupta, Rajesh Abhijandani, Sandeep Maheshwari. Nitin Agarwal. Nitin Agarwal. नितिन के बाद कौन?
Anjeev, we can't hear you. Go on the mic. You go on the mic. Go on the mic.
कॉलर माइक है
170 पंकज कक्कड़, 190 प्रभाल गुप्ता, 207 राजेश अभिचंदानी, 239 संदीप महेश्वरी, 255 संकल्प श्रीवास्तव, 260 for Saurabh Oguna. $267 Shalabh Nigam. $279 Shirish Chandrakar. $306 Umendra Singh Chauhan. $139 Mohit Mehrotra. Pramod Kumar Rai, I don't see. I don't think he's here. Sanjay Kumar. Nilesh Gupta. नहीं बचा है 254 संजीव सिन्हा.
संजीव एक और है
अंजन आ गया. अंजन भाई.
Okay, please.
Have I missed anyone? Have I missed anyone? कोई honor to be presented by you. Yes.
Thank you very much.
Please stay back for a while. It's not over yet.
आप सामने
Different departments and different questions that Professor Manna had asked us about how we can work with the institute. Let's make that as a topic for this discussion. Let's sit down once again, please.
Hi, my name is Praveen Gupta, 90188, electrical engineering. First of all, I would like to thank all of you for arranging this beautiful, beautiful event. Thank you very much for having all of us here. This really brings lots of good memories back. When the director was talking about this thing, actually lots of things he said about positive things about IIT Kanpur. One thing which I seriously, he said three things, which were all related to education and our reunion and all those things. But I think one thing which I strongly feel, and I'm sure many of us here also feel, is one area where IIT has done really, really well, IITs have done really, really well, is giving a chance to middle class people like us, who otherwise in life really never had a chance. But for this institute like IIT, we would have born middle class, maybe died middle class. As of this point in time, it gave us a chance. We have done something with our life, and we could not thank IITs and you directors, you professors, more than what we have done already. So from that point of view, please accept this thanks from all of us to the institute and to yourselves. After that, I just want to have one question to you guys, which I wanted to ask the director, but nevertheless I must ask, because one thing is the positive side of it, and the second side is what sort of improvement are required as of this point in time, and we see now after 20 years. When we came in as a batch in 1990, out of the top 100 JEE, I think in our batch we were about 44 or 45, if I'm not wrong. Yeah. As of this point in time, the statistics I don't have with me, but the feeling which I get, in top 100, we now in IIT Kanpur get only 3 or 4, if I'm not wrong. So I just want to know what has happened over the years, and what is the institute doing to correct this whatever event is happening now.
Dheeraj, can you take this up?
I think this is a serious concern. You know, people who talk about what should I join, I have what a rank of this or that and so on. On various websites there is a site called Go. Something like 2 months in just reading everything that was posted on those sites and try to understand what are we doing wrong. And the kind of information that people will put there, it was very clear that it is really a marketing failure. So for example, a typical question on that site would be, I'm only bothered about salary packages at the end of 4 years. Will this give me more package or that give me more package? That's really the bottom line today for most middle class people who come to IITs. Right? Now somebody from IIT Bombay would obviously say that we have 400 companies come over and we have 80%, 85% people who are graduating get a job and so on. And nobody from IIT Kanpur would say, well, they have 85% placement, we actually have 90% placement. Right? Yes, we don't have 400 companies come to Kanpur. Kanpur is not very easy to come to. However, the companies who come to Kanpur and the companies who go to Bombay, they take more people from Kanpur than they take from Bombay. Right? So these kinds of answers, none of us could ever give. Right? So if you look at lots of statistics which are really of importance to parents and prospective students, we actually do much better in them than other IITs. However, there is this thing like because of their being in big cities, they must be having some advantages. And of course, Bombay and Delhi do play up those advantages in terms of certain statistics. As I said, the number of companies that visit them is higher than us. Right? But that doesn't matter. Right? Now, why is it that we are poor at marketing? My own theory is, I'm not a marketing expert, I've never done any MBA sort of thing. My own theory is that we were number one, undisputed number one, for more than 30-35 years. Right from 1965 when we had our first convocation and half the batch went to US, till about year 2000, out of top 100 we will get 40, 50, even 60 in 1 year students. Right? We never had to compete for anything. We had the highest budget, we had the best campus, we had everything to say. So we don't know how to compete. We don't know how to market ourselves. So in these 30, 35 years or 40 years, we have come to the conclusion that people know we are good and they will come to us. And this is the mindset of most of the older faculty here. Now the good thing is that there has been an expansion in the faculty. If you look at the number of faculty members who have joined after year 2000, which is when we first went below the Bombay got more students than Kanpur did. There are more than 50% of the faculty members today on campus are post-2000. And these are people who are now saying, it doesn't make sense. We have all the good things on the campus, we have the best campus, we have the best faculty. You look at statistics like number of papers per faculty, amount of money per faculty, number of patents per faculty, number of awards per faculty. Every such parameter, Kanpur is number one. Right? So we should be able to do this. And the new faculty is saying, yes, we want to be able to market and we want to be able to do things. And so for the first time in 2014, we had put a page on Facebook saying, anybody who has got successful in JEE, they want to know anything about IIT Kanpur, please come on and we'll answer all those questions. We have put up, many phone numbers and so on and so forth. It was a very small attempt. Our closing ranks improved slightly as a result, but I think we are now going to do much better marketing effort for next summer, and hopefully things will improve.
Be sure to add something to it.
Good evening to everybody. I am Nilesh Gupta, 90156 Civil Engineering. I am fully confirming to the views of Praveen, who says that people like us come from a very middle class family. and after coming to IIT, we shine in the world upward. What I feel that the kinds of education we got out here, I mean, there is some sort of improvement required. More so in terms of the things like you said right now, we are best, so we are best. And we also go with the perception that we are best. I am from IIT Kanpur, I am best. But to communicate that particular things, I think we need to introduce some courses out here so that persons like us who are not that well conversant in communication and all that, they can improve and they can show better results out there. Thank you.
Respected my friends, batchmates. My name is Amrish Kumar Jain. My roll number is 90015. I think one thing that IIT Kanpur teaches is perseverance, and I firmly believe that if you can survive IIT Kanpur, you can survive anything. That is my firm conviction. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Namit Agarwal, 90144, civil engineering. I twin probably one observation, and probably both are observations to take as questions, but when I brought my little son along, he's not here, to show him IIT, and to some extent motivate him. He's only in 4th, right? Motivate him a little bit, whatever, so that I can, get him to think positively and think constructively about coming here. And he loved the infrastructure and everything that was there. I took him to the classroom, I took him everywhere. And I took him to the hostel, and the students' hostel, etc. And I showed him the room that I was in. The room that I was in Hall 2, at D135, was probably in the worst state that it was when I was in there. And so I said, do you want to come and study here? And he said, look at that room. He said, no. So, and I know there are constraints, but I think, and there are other rooms where just more than 2, there are 3 people living, and I talked to some of the students. So I'm sure that there is some effort on to decongest that part of it, but since you've done such a great job on the remaining infrastructure, if you could do something on the room, that will be nice. So that was number 1. And number 2 was, and I don't know, I think maybe it's a wrong question, but is the aim, if it's only a technology institute, right, that we compete ourselves with the best in the world, maybe that's what we are doing is fine. But in a sense, the remaining part of what Nilesh talked about, a little bit of personality development, a little bit about extracurricular activities, and just a little bit about, at that stage in life when you're here, the first 4 years, not everyone knows what to do in life, and giving a little bit more flexible options and a little bit more choices, both in academics and non-academics, I think is an overall part of growing up. And I feel that you get a whole lot of that in institutes where you have liberal arts and sciences and technology along with it, like you have in some of the institutes in the West. And that's why I'm not sure it's the right question here, because specifically a technology institute, but just wanted to hear the views, on the same.
Thanks. I first request my colleague, Dean of Students, Professor A.R.
About the hostel. When we were students, I was also a student when you were students. I was just trying to see if are there any familiar faces here. And some faces look very familiar. I don't know why they look familiar. Maybe
you look familiar to us.
Oh, do I look familiar? Oh yeah. Oh, yeah.
On that was unforgettable, not easy to forget.
I hope I didn't do anything wrong when there was a student here. Yeah, those days we used to have 5 boys hostels and 1 girls hostel. Now we have 11 plus 1, 12 hostels, 10 boys and 2 girls hostels. So we are growing. We are getting our 12 hostel 12 now. It's under construction. We are looking at getting the 13th one now because our numbers are growing. See, if you look at some of the newer hostels, you will see a lot of change in the design, the construction. And in fact, it so happened that when Hostel 8 was built, before that Hall 7 was built, it was designed in a very ultra-modern way, but people decided, the students said, that is not convenient, we would rather go back to Hall 5, Hall 4 model. So Hall 5, Hall 4 model got replicated in Hall 8, but Hall 9 was very similar to Hall 8. 10 and 11 is really ultra, it's very different design. 12 is going to be a multi-storied structure. Other thing, I don't know whether you noticed, we used to have a 3-layer structure in Hall 11, and Hall 11 it has become a 4-layer structure. Now we are going to a 6-layer structure in Hall 12. GH Tower is a 6-layer structure, so we are growing upwards. That's one change. If you get time, if it's possible, if they could see more recent construction like GH Tower or Hostel 11, they get a different viewpoint how things are going. There is also a proposal people are talking about. We would like to demolish the older structures like GH2, that was for GH, the girls' hostel, when you were students, that has been demolished now. We are getting a tower in that place. There are people are talking about demolishing the older structures like Hall 1, Hall 2, 3, Hall 4, Hall 5. These ones have 50 years, but maybe 30, 40 years old structures ready to be demolished. This is a path which we are taking. The other thing we are looking at is how to improve the living conditions. For example, the way when we look at the numbers, by 2016 we are going to break even. That means number of students and the accommodation that we have, they just touch each other. So we need to wait for another couple of years before we are just enough sufficient. But we know that that's not a good plan to stop there. We are proposing for the next hostel now. But what we are doing, trying to think now is, given the number of rooms, we have to double up. We have to put 3 people in a double room in Hall 2 and Hall 3. Is there something that can be done to make their living conditions better? If you have any suggestions, I really request you to pass them on to me. You can send me an email or pass it on to Venkatesh or fine. So we would like to try out as many experiments as possible to make the living conditions better. At the moment, there are 3 cots on the floor arranged flat. We are looking at bunker beds. There are some issues with air circulation. Any ideas if you have, please let us know. What we are looking actively is putting an extra mesh door in front of all the doors so that in summer, the evenings when they keep the main door open, the insects don't come, but still there is cross ventilation. Such small things, very small things, but we want to add more, make living more comfortable. I think that's what I wanted to say about hostel. Yeah, I wanted to share. I don't want to talk about liberal arts and other things. No, not my domain at all. I wanted to share something new that is happening in IIT Kanpur, which never happened for the last 50 years. Last year, yes. Last year in Inter-IIT Sports, we won the GC for the first time, and this year we repeated. We retained. So when you say all-round development, yes, in the sports arena, we are seeing all-round development. In fact, I get to know from some students that some of the performance of some of the students have improved after they gotten into Inter-IIT team, because they got a good mentoring, they got a good group of students helping them out, and they're doing better in academics. So I think we are going in the right direction when it comes to overall personality development.
Yeah, in terms of extracurricular and various events, I think we are doing a huge number of things. In fact, the complaint that on the faculty side is that students are always busy with anything other than academics, which I think is very good. Just there will always be people complaining about such things. And in terms of liberal arts and those kinds of flexibilities, I think when you were students, you were required to do 4 HSS courses in your Five? Okay, so there was a time when after that it became 4 and now it has come back to I think 6. And in addition we have one course on English, which is, if you remember when you came in here, you would have been given an English test, and based on that you would have been told to do English 112 or whatever. So that process still happens. So the people who come from backgrounds which are slightly, they take in these speakers for speakers. They do have to do an English course in the first year. Besides that, there is a compulsory communication skills course in the second year for all 800 plus students. And then there is another communication skills course in the third year for all the 800 students. So we are focusing on communication skills quite a bit. Not sure how effective these things are, but nevertheless they are now part of the curriculum. Also in terms of flexibility, there is huge amount of flexibility now that the students have. When they choose their branch in JEE, it is really based on peer pressure, parental pressure, society, who is going to earn how much, and so on and so forth. But after the students come in here after a year and a half, many of them want to do different things. And branch change has always been a problem. Of course, we are now extremely liberal with branch change. More than 10% of the batch get branch change. But still, it's 10%, it's not 100%. So to take care of such things, we now have a process of minor. So a student can do 3 to 4 courses in another discipline and get a minor mention on the degree. You also have double major. So you can get 1 degree in, it could be BTech in aerospace with the second major in electrical or any of those combinations. These combinations need not be both engineering. It could be science and engineering or science and science or whatever. In fact, you could also do second degree, which is a UG PG dual degree. So you could do the first degree as BTech, the second degree as MTech, or the second degree as MSc or MBA or MS, and so on. So any of these combinations any student can do. There are of course CPI requirements that you have to be, your academic record must be good enough to get the second degree and so on. But a lot of students are indeed doing that. We also have BTech in engineering science, which is not a program where we admit anybody from JEE, but through branch change they can choose to do an interdisciplinary BTech. So there are multiple disciplines in which this engineering science program is offered. So there is a lot of flexibility that we have introduced in the curriculum, and students can really tailor-make their degrees what they want to study.
I just wanted to add a very quick line that we have an alumni who donated funds, and he wants not to be named, who's funding this English proficiency program, which is run by one of my colleagues in mechanical engineering. It is meant for students who find, when they come in the first year, they find that they cannot understand lectures properly because of the language. So, many thanks to this unnamed alumni. Okay.
I just the voice skill set. So, if there's any help that we can really
we have.
provide that, then they could
I will take your card. Since we have raised this issue, we have something called Project Saraswati, which we have started, where we ask alumni to donate time to their alma mater. Typically, it's a Saturday afternoon, and there is a team of volunteers who run this program, and they contact the alumni, and they will come, and probably tomorrow they will collect business cards of all of you. So, thank you very much for volunteering.
My name is Sandeep Maitri. I was electrical engineering student here. First of all, I'm really glad to be here, first of all, and glad to know that all these changes that are happening to improve the communication skills of the student, and that's something that all of us struggle in a couple of years of our careers and then subsequently learned on our own. My question is related with the director who said that why we are not in first 100 ranking all over the world. One of the criteria to be in 100 ranking is the international student combination that
yes, we are.
But we generally attract only Indian cohort. So what are we doing on that? So that's one part of it. Second is just to kind of, it's a related one. When there were 5 IITs, it used to be well-known brand, but now we have 16 IITs. What is the impact on the IIT brand because of so many number of students who will be coming out?
Very soon we'll have 21.
21.
Next year, yeah. That has been announced, but it has yet to be implemented.
So what is the implication of that one? So how will you achieve this one, the vision of 21?
So you have 2 questions, right? One is about the international thing, which I'll just make a very quick comment. that we have an Associate Dean of International Relations, and we have about 48 MOUs with different international universities. However, the activation of that MOUs is one of the major issues. And one issue is that we don't have proper accommodation for international students. Now, that is a go and a no-go, because some people say that you cannot have the type of students in the campus. So that we are struggling. We have only 29 international students, but they are not all degree students. Very few degree students. I think Dheeraj, being Dean Academic, want to add something to it.
Yeah, so we have a very, we have a program called non-degree students. So any student from any university in the world can come and spend a semester or two here. And we are very actively, seeking students to come and spend some time here. And the 29 international students that we talked about, I think 20 of them would be in this non-degree category. Unfortunately, for any foreigner to pass JEE is pretty much next to impossible. Similarly, for MSc 2-year, we have a test called JAM. Again, for a foreigner to pass that test is next to impossible. For MTech, we take students from GATE. Again, for a foreigner to get any good ranking in GATE is very difficult. So we do get some PhD students from a few countries, but that's very, very small number. We are about to start the construction of an international student hostel. We do get a little bit more applications than we admit right now. And I think as soon as this hostel is ready, with this number that we have right now, which is about 29, as he said, more than 29, but whatever. I think we will reach 100 in the next 2 years' time or 3 years' time. But unless there is a way to admit students in the undergraduate program and the master's program, this number will not go up. I mean, for PhD, it's not attractive enough to come to this place. Now, this is where, when we talk about international students, I think one also has to realize that it's not just the hostel issue, it's not just those things, but the kind of education that we have. There is a huge difference in the kind of education that we have at IIT Kanpur or any IIT for that matter, or anywhere in India, versus a typical US university or a typical European university, right? I mean, this is probably 50th reunion that I'm attending like this over the last 20 years, and I asked one question from all alumni: would you send your kid, if you are staying outside India, for a semester at IIT Kanpur? In the last 20 years that I've been here, we haven't seen even one example of that. Not even one example of any alumni sending their kid for one semester to IIT Kanpur. Right? I think there is so much of cultural difference between the way we teach, the way we handle academics, and the way Europe and US handles academics. You are not going to be, I mean, you may say all these things about IIT Kanpur, and there are obviously very strong points about IIT Kanpur, but when it comes to your own kid, you will not send him at IIT Kanpur or her to IIT Kanpur. Right? It's not just hostel. Right? So we need to figure out how do we get these foreign students here. Right? And you need to tell us that. I mean, of course, you are very young. I mean, people who come for 30th year union or 35th year union, they need to tell us why are they not sending their kids to IIT Kanpur, and we don't understand it.
Harish, you want to add something? Oh, the number of IITs, I will tell you from my personal experience that when we write recommendation letters, maybe 2007 and 8, people got admitted. And I knew my friends in Germany, I had a lot of connections, and they'll say, what is this, this boy is not doing well, or this girl is not doing well, and I was visiting them in summers. And then I realized IIT, but it was IIT, say, Mandi, or something like this. So there is some issue where but now they are getting smart. I do get these queries from my colleagues, is this an old IIT or a new IIT? So at least my German friends have figured out that there is something called an old IIT and then simply call it new IIT. So we have crossed that hurdle in the last 5 years. So it is very much there, yes, I agree. And I think it's not really important to talk because the government decided to have 7 IITs, 8 IITs, and now they have 5 more. And in fact, our funds are cut by 15% this year. See, our planned budget to build hostels, to build infrastructure, to have facilities, which should go up by, let's say, 8% or 6% as per inflation rate, has actually gone down by 15%. So this is where my project Lakshmi comes into picture. So today we are welcoming you. I don't want to drive you away with Project Lakshmi. We have floated these projects like the International House as one of the funding prime, what we call as flagship projects, to the Golden Jubilee people who are coming in March, to the 45th and to the 40th and to the 35th. But I am sparing Silver Jubilee and the 20th and the Bacha batches.
I think we should not worry about IIT brand. The brand has to be IIT Kanpur and not IIT. In fact, till the 90s, I remember as a student, we were told during the ragging period, if anybody were to ask you a question, how many IITs are there? Your answer cannot be there are 5 IITs. The answer has to be there are 4 IITs and then there is IIT Kanpur. This was really, so we always were told IIT Kanpur is the brand. And I think in the mid-90s, in some locations where there were not enough IITians, they got together and they started this whole thing about Pan-IIT and so on. And it benefited us in various ways. I mean, being on the 60-minute, it helped us in some ways. But I think it has also hurt us. The brand IIT Kanpur has weakened as a result of brand Pan-IIT becoming stronger. Right? I think we need to somehow manage this branding that, while we are part of Pan-IIT in some ways, but we should also have our own brand called IIT Kanpur. And if we have a strong brand name IIT Kanpur, then having 21 IITs wouldn't bother us.
I think
actually, let me tell you about my own experience when I got this admission for postgraduate admission here to K. I got admission in Kharagpur and Kanpur, and for somebody sitting in Bangalore, I said, well, that's got a slightly longer name, but both of them start from K. So how do I decide which one to join? That's about all I knew about Kanpur and Kharagpur. And somebody who was a professor in IIC and of course an alumnus from Kanpur many years ago, I guess, said, what you got? I mean, Kanpur used to have an interview for admission in masters. Kharagpur used to give it by post. I mean, like, well, you got your gate score, you can come over and join. So he said, you got admission even after the interview. What are you thinking about? Go to Kanpur, of course. And actually, we couldn't get tickets to go to Kharagpur also that time. That's actually the reason I landed up here. I mean, well, this is the kind of thing that decides one's fate very often. And I just also recognized that all the 4 people on the stage right now, 3 of us have done our PhDs here, and we are all alumni of this place.
Next, any other question?
That after the end of 3rd year or during the 4th year, you should have some mentoring classes or people who can mentor the students so that they can decide what they actually want to do. At our time, people used to run only after salary. You could land up in a maintenance job or any job which pays you higher. And one more thing, that is there a way if we, during our career, if we need some course or some relearning, can we come back to the institute, or is there a way for a 1 month or 2 month course? Is there a way that we can come over here or join some course which is related to the thing we need? Is there a way of out?
We have what we call as you will find in a typical management school, but we do offer maybe 30-40 courses in a year. Most of these courses are about 1 week, very hectic, 6 hours a day or 7 hours a day for 1 week, that kind of courses. Again, our marketing is extremely poor. I'm not sure if we even have a website for this. So typically the faculty member who will offer such a course, so if I have to offer a course on, let's say, networking is what I teach, I will have a list of faculty members in various IITs and NITs and so on, and send them an email saying if you know any faculty member of any private engineering colleges, because those will be very keen to have this course. Plus,
sir, please come forward.